Welcome everyone to Chapter 2 of this 4-part series on how to get overpowered as quickly and easily as possible in Elden Ring in preparation for Shadow of the Erdtree. In this section of this Elden Ring optimized early game preparation guide, we will get 2 of the best weapons in the game, kill a dragon, we'll get a Dark Knight to fall off a bridge. We're going to get hundreds of thousands of runes, so it ought to be fun. Please download the free game guides and annotated maps to best follow the video. Warp to Lenny's Rise and wait till night. Make sure you have no runes held, that your runes held balance is close to 0 because this is probably going to take multiple attempts, so you don't want to be having lots of runes. So you will see there's a Dark Knight on the bridge, so just ride up to him and get over the wall as quickly as you can, and then just sort of riding around the wall, baiting him into attacking you. But in fact he'll jump over the wall to his demise. If you're having trouble with this, you can also do this trick on the other side of the wall. There's a little spot on the other side that you can hang out at and achieve the same goal. Even if you do this one wrong, it seems to often still work. It's probably going to take a couple of tries, but it's really worth it, so stick with it. And if you do get it, level up right away, of course. Don't put the runes at risk, and put it all into Vigor. If there's a trick to this, it's being able to stick that landing on the little ledge and then run left and right while facing forward, as you can see in the video. Okay, let's get on with the main portion of this Chapter 2. So go to A4, which is Agil Lake North. Hit the scarab before the bridge for the Determination Ash of War. And at the center of the bridge, get a smithing stone +1. Continue south past the caravan, get gold pickled foulfoot at the cross just west of the Waypoint Ruins. Go south of that to raid one of the final graveyards we will raid for 6 runes. There is one more important one to raid in Liurnia of the Lakes. And there may be some more that we'll raid anyway, but for now they can really help us level up. Ride to Agil Lake South Grace, located north of the Everjail destination. It's slightly west of south of the graveyard we just visited. Rest at that grace. In other words, find what's called A39 on the map. From the grace, look northwest into the pond with the crab and notice the silver scarab in the middle of the pond. We'll return for that soon, but we need to get a better weapon first. So ride to the Hound Everjail and enter it. And don't worry, you're supposed to go in first. You'll get Blythe's help once you're in there. So when you're in there, look around for the golden summon sign on the floor. When you find that sign, go up to it and call Blythe to help you in this fight. And really, you could just watch him, but he does need to get a break every now and then and take some healing flasks. So really, it's easy for you because you could just hit him with darts or arrows. You don't really need to engage this guy. He's fast, so probably easiest to just stay very far away, but be sure to have arrows and or darts to hit this dude with. And be sure to meet with Blythe afterwards. He's got a Somber smithing stone +2 for you, which is pretty good. Let's return to the Church of El and upgrade the Bloodhound's Fang to +2. That adds 40 points to its base damage, which is pretty significant in the early game for sure. I didn't have enough to level up or anything, but while I was there I also bought the crafting kit, some throwing daggers. Do the same if you have extra runes. Warp back to Agil Lake South. Head down to the pond where you see the silver scarab. We're going to use the new Bloodhound's Fang +2 magic sword, and in particular its Ash of War. And that's how we'll take out both the scarab but also the crabs. This ash is one of the best in the game. It allows you to do this attack and then sort of magically pulls you back into a safe spot. It's just incredible. And once you master it, you can really, the game becomes trivial. Next, head west to an area nearby that has a few soldiers fighting some demi-humans. Stick around and watch the fight to gain all the runes that they generate from the fight. Mop up the mob as you like. Now head north to the ruin that has a little shelter under it, and go under that archway and speak with Ura, Hunter of Bloody Fingers. Exhaust his dialogue and listen to him warn you to stay away from the dragon in the lake there.
Unless you stay clear of the lake. Don't be a fool.
Now let's get the Reduvia Dagger. Warp to A4 at Geel Lake North. Now we gotta go to A40. So ride to the Murkwater Coast Grace. About halfway there you'll come across a camp. Ride in and get the Armorer's Cookbook 1. Get to the river from here, and then near the entrance to the Murkwater Cave. I find that coming into the Murkwater Cave area from the north is best to avoid disturbing the skeletons that are guarding the south. Your mount disappears and you'll have to wait for the invader. Stay to the north as much as possible so that Yura spawns there and not in the south by all the skeletons. And you could support Yura as you did with Blythe with arrows or darts. But initially, you're going to have to engage this guy, and the great thing about the Bloodhounds Fang is you don't have to get too close to him. After defeating the invader, run or ride back to the north and to speak to the real Yura for a second time. After exhausting his dialogue, go back south into the Murkwater Cave. After you enter the cave, hug the right wall and enter the golden boss door. You will see an empty room with a chest. Open the chest and take the clothes, then watch Patches enter the scene. Beat him up by using our new +2 sword, but do not kill Patches. After you get him down to 50%, which is I think 2 Ash of War attacks with the sword currently at +2, he gives up. And then speak to him and exhaust his dialogue. And be sure to purchase his 3 gold pickled fowl feet when he opens his store. So just keep revisiting him until he opens his store. Now let's get 200,000 runes. You could get more. Get your gold pickled fowl feet ready. Work back to the Dragon Grayoll at Fort Faroth. And then just use the Bloodhound's Fang to bleed him. Get on your horse, ride up to his tail, and just keep whacking him. It's about 20 or 30 times for a bleed proc, and there's maybe 5 of these that you need to get. When the dragon's down to very low hit points, you need to pay attention to the final proc. You need to be ready. Even face the camera away. You have to keep facing the tail to hit him. Maybe face the camera back towards the grace, because the second you hit him and the final proc occurs, you'll see this unusual and a large damage number, and his tail will twitch. When that happens, if you ride as fast as possible to the grace and rest, then it'll respawn you and the dragon will still be alive, but you'll have the 50,000 runes, 65,000 if you use the golden pickled fowl feet. See right there, the hits jump to a big number like 4,000 or so. And so right away when that happens, his tail shakes and you gotta start running or riding to the grace. Be calm, this is not difficult. Just remember to be ready to ride swiftly back to the 4th Faroth Grace and rest. Do this fast enough and you will respawn with 50,000 runes, 65,000 to use the gold pickled fowl feet, with the ancient dragon Grayoll still perfectly alive. Most of the times I do this, maybe do it twice or 3 times. After that, it's the law of diminishing returns. Besides, the next thing we're going to do for lots of runes will be 500,000 runes. So whether we did the dragon 1 or 2 more times isn't going to matter very much. Now that you can get to level 50, you can start to focus on the attributes that are important to your build. I mean, obviously start with a decent amount of vigor and endurance, but if you're going to go in the direction of mage, obviously you'll work on your intelligence and your mind. In either case, check the associated guide for the table of faith and arcane. There's some real key incantations that are necessary and there's faith requirements, so check that out in the guide. And again, you subscribe to my channel, you get all this stuff for free maps, free guidebooks. Now warp back to Fort Faroth and head to the west along the cliff edge to find a spirit spring on your left. Go down the spirit spring and head towards the Church of the Plague. At the Church of the Plague, meet the extremely important NPC Millicent and exhaust her dialogue. Then collect all the sacramental buds and arterial leaf you can. Also collect all the Aeonian butterflies. Those don't respawn. And grab another sacred tear. We should have 7 flasks now, of the 9 total we will get during these preparations. There were a maximum of 14 flasks available during the Elden Ring game. Head south and pick up the Golden Rune 5 on the fallen pillar on our left. Then continue and drop right into the covered bridge. Avoid the mages and grab the black key bolts and continue out the other side, picking up the Golden Rune 4. Leave the covered bridge and continue west to the Swamp Lookout Tower. Get close to the tower and aggro the Bloodhound Knight that is in the tower. Get on Torrent and run away from the tower and he will chase you. Once you are far enough away, ride back and enter the cage at the bottom of the tower. You will find the Eternal Darkness spell on a body here. If you ever get lost in the video, just check the maps and guidebook that is associated with this video. Ride south and tag the Southern Aeonia Swamp Bank Grace. This is also known as the Deathrite Bird Grace because one of those birds can be found here at night. Ride north towards the wall that you can see to the south that has an open portcullis. Before you go through the open doorway, an open portcullis called Celia Gateway to the south, grab the Golden Rune 2 and Golden Rune 5. Then head through the opening, hug the right wall to ride behind the cat thing, and go into the Gowry shack to visit the NPC Gowry. Exhaust your dialogue with him. He informs you that we'll need an unalloyed gold needle. Warp back to the Southern Aeonia Swamp Bank Grace. Head west to pick up the area map and speak to another merchant. Warp to the Ailing Lake South Grace. That's A39B on the maps. Now head south to the Bridge of Sacrifice, picking up the Somber Smithing Stone +1, there's 3 of them, and a Stone Sword's key on the bridge. Save at the Bridge of Sacrifice Grace. Normally I just run on the bridge and grab the loot and go. And this time for some reason I've taken on all the soldiers. But with Bloodhound's Fang and the Ash of War it is easy, so give it a try. Then walk over to the southeast to visit Arena from Castle Morne. Exhaust her dialogue and take her letter as you need it to start Hyetta's quest. Now go down south on the road towards the castle. On the way, pick up the Morning Star from a crypt and a Somber Smithing Stone +2. Collect the Golden Rune 2 by the dogs, strip of white flesh by the troll, and continue to head south on the road to the Silver Scarab. Hit the Scarab a few times to get the Mighty Shot Ash of War. Remember to assign some of the Ashes of War you picked up to various weapons to learn of their abilities. Visit the merchant at Castle Morne Rampart Grace, just past the Mighty Shot Scarab. It's a good idea to start buying all the smithing stones you can now. Jump to the Spirit Spring to get the Great Turtle Shell Shield from the top of the tower that the Spirit Spring delivers you to. Be careful to return to the Spirit Spring and not crash to your death on the return to the bottom. Now head towards Castle Morne and pick up the local area map. You might want to run fast and zigzag a little to avoid the giant and his house-sized arrows. Then get the golden seed from the yellow tree at A45. Now run inside the castle, just avoid the giant and tag the Castle Morne site of grace. Then exit, go south to the beach with 4 red jellyfish and get the Somber smithing stone +2. Now, location A47 on the maps, very important. What we're going to do next is going to be key in taking down 2 of the hardest bosses in the entire game. From here, get your bow ready and ride to the south of the silver scarab located here. Don't get too close as the scarab will then disappear. Instead, hit it from a distance with 3 arrows and get the amazingly important Poison Mist Incantation. Ride or warp back to the Castle Morne Rampart Grace. Ride to Ailing Village and pick up all the loot you can, including the Flame Quest wooden shield. Remember that I made annotated maps and guidebooks for subscribers to my YouTube channel, so be sure to download them and check them out so you don't get lost. Move a short distance to the Kalu Baptismal Church to get another sacred tier in the Flame of Frenzy Incantation. Avoid or destroy the Mad Rats. Ride west and find a path down to the bridge. Ignore the bridge and that creature resting there and continue past and to the right to get to the south of the Lookout Tower Grace. Grab the Grace and rest. After tagging the Grace, ride back over the bridge. Just jump over the creature. Killing him isn't going to help us. Ride down and east and north past a bunch of poison plants to pick up the Faith Knot Crystal Tier. Next, head into the Demi-Human Forest Ruins. You can defeat the Demi-Human Queen easily now if you have gotten a hang of using the Bloodhound Fang's curved sword. Doing so gets you the Demi-Human Queen's staff. As you can see in the video, summoning the 3 wolves makes this so much easier, and they stick around to help you mop up all the mob. Feed into the basement near here to pick up the Shield of the Guilty. Notice how we have to get on Torrent to jump the wall to get into the basement. There's a few places like that. Return to the poison plants and work your way back up the hill north towards the Church of the Pilgrimage Grace. I stop off at this statue, and there's a bunch of these around the lands between. So you go up to them and you examine them, and it points a light, like a laser light, at some object, usually a dungeon, an entrance, and it also marks your game map. It's worth doing. Grab the blood grease and the gilded iron shield in the graveyard to the west of the church. While there, get the sacred tier and pick up all the gold centipedes in the church. Visit the Tombs Ward ruins, and now go into the basement in the Tombs Ward ruins and get the Winged Scythe after taking out 2 enemies. That should be easy now with the Fang. If you're lucky, one of the enemies will drop the Red Branch Shortbow. Pick up all the Trina lilies here. This is a major find for creating sleep pots, which are instrumental in beating a couple of mid to late game bosses. Head past the Weeping Everjail to the 4th Church of Marika. Pick up another sacred tier here. Head south to the beach to pick up a Golden Rune 1, then head east along the beach to the isolated merchant shack to meet another merchant and grab the grace. Purchase a lantern here. Now head up the hill to the east to to the Tower of Return. Climb the tower, kill the guard manning the ballista and any others that will likely follow you up the ladder. Then open the chest and wait while the teleportation smoke envelops you. It transports you to a very beautiful but currently isolated location in the Leyndell royal capital. There's only one important thing to do here, and that's get a talisman. And in order to leave, you have to rest at the Grace here. There is, however, a very powerful giant here that will wake up when you sneak past him to the chest to get the blessed Dew Talisman. The giant will attack you and likely kill you if you are not quick, but as shown in the video, with our new armor and our new level of vigor, we can take a few hits, heal, and keep going. After you get the talisman, rest at the Grace. In the video, I need some more runes to purchase items, so I teleport back to Fort Faroth, which is A31, to get another go at Ancient Dragon Grayoll. I use the gold pickled Foulfoot, of course, and I get 65,000 runes versus the usual 50,000. This time I choose to kill Grayoll. I do this in order to get 5 dragon hearts, and we're going to need those. And as I've said before, this trick of getting 50 or 65,000 runes from Grayoll, it's only worth it 3 or 4 times or 2 or 3 times, depending on your opinion. In the video, when I have Grayoll down to about 10% health left, instead of taking him down and just getting the 65,000 runes, I take on one of the little dragons near him because they're all connected. And each one of those guys that dies, he ends up losing like 20% of his health. So this way you get a little extra runes just by killing the little dragon first. After I got that last little dragon, you see Grayoll disappears as if I hit him. Okay, now we can level up from level 23 to level 50. Check the associated guide to see what levels to put your strength, dexterity, faith, and even vigor at. We will now go around the Stormviel Castle to the Lake of Liurnia. Warp to Stormviel Shack Grace. Head northwest to the collapsed bridge and see the finger reader there. Exhaust her dialogue. Go to the end of the bridge to find Nomadic Warriors Cookbook 7. Now look south, left, and up, and you can see the path you need. Explore upwards and left to get to it, and then ride along the cave-like path, hugging the left the entire way until you notice the walls of the castle appear. Continue to hug the walls until you find an entrance. Go in and get the Shabriri Grape. Now exit out and go to the nearby lake-facing cliffs Grace. Rest here. If you accepted Irina's letter by the Bridge of Sacrifice, then look to speak with Hyetta, who first shows up here. Speak with Hyetta and give her the Shabriri Grape you just picked up. Go to the nearby Church of Illith to get a golden seed and meet Thops. Pay Thops the 10 runes and exhaust his dialogue. Ride towards the B6 Liurnia Lakeshore Site of Grace. B6 on the maps. Along the way, drop into the Firemonk camp to pick up the Glintstone Craftsman Cookbook 1. Proceed to the Liurnia Lakeshore Grace and meet the merchant there. Purchase the Nomadic Warriors Cookbook 11, the smithing stones, and the lantern if you have not already done so. Here, ride north to the little tower icon on your game map. Pick up the local area map and return to the Liurnia Lakeshore Grace. Ride west while hugging the south cliffs. You will come to a spirit spring. Take it up to the top of the cliffs. Ride south to the Malefactor's Everjail. Don't go in, but riding up to it will put it on your game map. Now ride north until you see an obvious camp. Ride in and swipe the Firemonk's Prayerbook. Ride or warp back to the Liurnia Lakeshore Grace. Now ride west and north past the Spirit Spring to the Laskjar Ruins Grace. From the ruins, ride west and south and find the Lakeside Crystal Cave. Enter the cave and grab the Grace. Ensure that your lantern is on. Open the chest for an arterial leaf plant. Go deeper into the cave and hug the left wall and find a small side tunnel. Take that tunnel and kill the demi-humans and open the chest and get the Spear Talisman. Use the Bloodhound Fang's Ash of War to hit these guys and automatically jump free. Once you get the timing down, you can literally take on almost any boss. Return to the main area and make your way down a series of obvious jumps. When you hit the bottom, be sure to pick up the 5 throwing daggers. Continue into the cave and easily destroy the snails that breathe ice. Pick up a smithing stone +4 and the smithing stone +2. Next up is the boss room that contains one very fast moving Bloodhound Knight. But our Bloodhound's Fang is more than up to the task. You just have to practice the moves a few times in order to learn when to trigger your staggering Ash of War, while then also jumping far back out of the way of his attacks. Note, this was a tough fight for me at first, but I got it in 2 tries, so anyone can. On my second try, I ate some exalted flesh and prawns in order to increase some of my stats. After winning, you are rewarded with the Cerulean Amber Medallion. It may be helpful to practice the Bloodhound Fang Ash of War on the surface with a bunch of sheep before you come down here. We are here to get an important summons, Latenna, the archer. After the fight, exit the cave and find yourself before the slumbering wolf shack. Tag the site of grace and speak to the girl there. After you exhaust her dialogue and agree to help her, she transforms into a spirit summons in your inventory. Think of her as sitting in your pocket now. She will talk to you again later in the game. Warp back to Liurnia Lakeshore Grace. Now let's ride due east to find the Stillwater Cave. Go into the cave just enough to tag the Grace and then leave, as we will visit this dungeon later. Follow the base of the cliffs northwest to find a spirit spring up. At the top of the cliffs, grab the Liurnia Highway South Grace. You should see the first of small balloons with 3 figures in them. Pop them with arrows to immediately get golden rune 6s. Ride north, picking up a Stormhawk feather along the way. Arrive at the Liurnia Highway North Grace. From here, travel southwest downhill to the Purified Ruins. You are looking for a couple of things here. First is to find the basement, which is in one of the easternmost buildings and covered by wood, so you have to strike the ground to make the floor disappear, showing you the stairs down. Once you have gone into the basement, be sure to look around the chest room and not just inside the chest, or you might miss an item here. Collect the 2 Fingers Heirloom Talisman, which adds 5 to faith, and another important Chabri grape, then return to the surface. Note, I always take out all the guards in and around the building that houses the staircase to the basement, because they often drop great armor and other useful items. Next, you can find Hyetta at the west side of the Purified Ruins. Meet her and give her the grape that you just found, advancing her storyline. Ride to the northwest side of the ruins to find an active transporter. Use the transporter. Welcome to the South Roya Lucaria Gate Grace. Hit the Grace and go to the shielded door to pick up the meeting place map. From the South Roya Lucaria Gate Grace, look down and west to see a graveyard under you on the water. It's far too high for you to survive a jump from here, but notice this graveyard, as it is one of the last important ones we will raid for runes. Ride through the town, grabbing all the loot you can, including a smithing stone 3. You will see a knight walking near a blue-white wooden shield. Ignore the knight, but grab the shield. Once you get near the bottom of the town, ride out the broken bridge past the old finger reader. Jump left into the Academy Gate Town and grab the smithing stone +2 times 3 by the crab. This is B14 on the maps. Head south out of these buildings, then west and north towards the graveyard for more runes. At the graveyard full of plants that hurl magic at you, grab all the runes but dodge the glintstone magic. Look at the map now and you should see the map location marker to the southeast. Ride towards it, but pick up the golden seed here first. Then grab the area map, Liurnia North map. Ride southeast to this gazebo, B18 on my maps, to get the smithing stone +3 times 3. Remember that my videos all come with downloadable game guides and maps. Please just subscribe to my YouTube channel. That doesn't cost you anything. Grab the Gatetown Bridge Grace, B19 on the map. Head south and west to B20 to meet Raya for the first time. Exhaust her dialogue. Head west to the Scenic Isle Grace and meet Patches for a second time. Purchase his Margit's Shackle, as this will be quite useful in putting down a few bosses and even destroying some of those nasty chariots later. Go to B22 and grab the Dexterity Knot Crystal Tier on the small island west and north of Scenic Isle. Well, that's the end of Chapter 2. Congratulations if you got this far. For Chapter 3, we're going to defeat the Draconic Tree Sentinel and unlock many secrets.